Hi everyone, it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing my weekly process video with you all in my Cocoa Daisy Traveler's Notebook. This is my third project in my September notebook. I am absolutely loving this kit and loving documenting my fall memories in it. And today I am doing just that of my oldest son who decided to participate in the rodeo for his very first time. To say that I was afraid is an understatement. He was wrestling a bull, and as a mom, I had, some panic moments, but needless to say, he absolutely loved it. He was very safe, and in the end, he enjoyed himself and he wasn't hurt. So we're going to take it as a win-win, and we are going to document this day. So I wanted to document a large photo of him because it was a rainy day and he literally was covered head to toe in mud. So I used a full-size photo of him there on the left-hand side, and I blew it up so that you could really focus on his face and his shirt. That way you could see all of the mud and the dirt and the grime, and it was just so awful to clean up. But he had a blast, and that's all that matters. The photos on the right-hand side here, I did take some photos from when he was participating, and it's a series and a timeline from top to bottom. I did print them a little bit wider and narrow, that way I could get more of like a landscape shot photo of this to include everything. And I love how this just looks right down the middle, perfectly symmetrical, and then there was a small enough gap at the top that I was able to use the yellow puffy stickers from the kit, and then I just added First Rodeo. I didn't know really what fancy title to make or anything like that because this is actually going to end up being a 2-page spread with a fold out. So 5 pages total. So I do plan on doing some journaling on the other spread, which you'll see after this. So I just kept this piece plain and simple. Yellow puffy stickers, First Rodeo, and that was it. Just telling the story of the 4 pictures below. I did want to add a little bit more to it to pull in some of the ephemera and stamps and embellishments that came in the kit. This is the Traveler's Notebook memory keeping kit that I'm working with. And I know all the bits and pieces are not the same, so these ones are specifically from that kit. So I'm going to flip through some of the die cuts. I love their die cuts. They are a sticker back die cut, so you don't have to worry about adhesive. It's just peeling off of the backing, and that's that. So I did find a coordinating a couple of coordinating blue stickers, a few green ones that I will add in here. I do use that blue rectangle box there that I am trying to place on the left, and I will use this green banner. That banner says just taking it all in. I will use those two, but I do not end up using the tag. I'm saving that one for another layout. I chose to do that because I wanted to bring more green in, because I will have more green on this right-hand side of the page here eventually. So I use one of the green floral puffy stickers that were included in the kit on the left. So at this point, I'm still kind of going through things, trying to find what fits, what works, the phrases that I think that work best with this. And I did kind of get stuck there for a minute because I didn't want to bring a whole lot in, but I wanted to bring something in, and I was just fumbling with what it was. So then I do end up the blue tab there says Daily Adventures, and I do end up leaving that there. And then I do add in this green and white banner on the bottom there above the 4th picture, but there was nothing on it, and I didn't need to date it, and it didn't have anything specific that I wanted to write in it, so I will eventually use the stamp set to stamp inside of that little banner and put that above that 4th photo. So again, this blue banner says Daily Adventures. It's going to go right there in between the 1st and the 2nd photo. This green one will find its home right where it is there. And I am going to pull in the stamp set. There's 2 stamps in the stamp set. I love how they do these. They put phrases or words on there, and then they'll include a checkbox on there. I don't use the checkbox quite a bit. But I love the words, but I do use them both. They're very versatile. Like, you can use them for a lot of different things. So one of them, I am going to use just the part that says fall favorites and stamp that there on the top left. And then there is another one that says snapshot, and then I'll double stamp that down on the bottom. So my green tag is going to say fall favorites and snapshot. And this will live, once my fingers decide to work with it and get the backing off, that will live right there on that top left corner of that bottom photo. Now for the left side, I do keep this rectangular box. The blue matches and coordinates with the right side perfectly. And at this point, I'm just trying to really figure out, do I want a sticker or didn't I? And then that's when I decided that I did. So we're going to use this blue journaling box for a little bit of journaling. I am going to use this green banner piece. It says just taking it all in. We're going to put that on the bottom. And then I decided to switch it up and use this green puffy sticker because it matches the green banners perfectly. After I add that in, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Sharpie pen, and I'm going to add just a little bit of journaling in this blue box, talking about how it was just a rainy day and that everything was super muddy. But regardless, it was still a blast. There was actually big mud puddles that these kids, not him, thankfully, that other kids were running and jumping into, and it was so funny. But you know, let kids be kids sometimes and cover them in mud, and it honestly, it was such a great time. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and finish this part of the spread up with a couple of enamel knots. I am going to place them there on the left hand side, one on the bottom, 2 up above the floral, and then I will also carry in 3 over onto the right side, 2 on that bottom banner, 1 on that top one that says Daily Adventures. And then this spread is going to be complete. When I do my enamel dots, when I do my embellishments, I do try to do it in 3s. For some reason, my brain works in odd numbers when it comes to this type of thing. But if you're like me, it's odd numbers here, but if you're in the car driving, the volume has to be on an even number. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a little crazy. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and finish this page up, and we're going to move over to the next. I am going to add in this large photo on the right-hand side. I loved it because it just showed him really being him, enjoying the moment. I loved how it showed his rodeo wear. I love how it showed his number for the day. It just kind of finished off and captured the end portion of the day. I have this card that says savor each and every moment, and I wanted to use this because that is exactly what he was doing in this moment, was savoring every moment of the day before it was over. And this really, really, truly speaks of him and how he thinks of this. And the colors matched beautifully, so we went with it. I needed a little bit extra space also, so I decided to trim this down to make it a little bit narrow so that it didn't add too much bulk to my notebook. And then I'm going to use some washi tape and attach this. This will give a little bit of green on this side, green and yellow on this side. And then when I turn it over, this will help fill in that right-hand column, which had that more of a white margin, and it helps kind of finish off that other side too. So I do it on the outside. I will trim off the little bit extra that's on the ends, and then when I open this up, I do reinforce it on the inside. I find that washi tape sometimes over time will start to lift, so having it on the outside and on the inside helps it make it a little bit more secure. And then it ends up working better too, since it's an interactive element. So once I go ahead and get this inside piece down, I am going to trim up the edges, reinforce that down, and then I'll go ahead and crease everything. That way the washi has a nice crease in it and a nice fold, and it can open nice and smooth. On the inside of that flap, I'm going to document 3 photos of my son practicing. He also is doing and taking roping lessons. So he has a hay bale with a bullhead that he uses for practicing roping. And it was funny because he was practicing roping and then he stopped doing that, and then he was practicing his positioning for shoot dogging for the ropes. So he was making, or not the ropes, but so he was practicing like where his elbow was going. And it was such a cute moment that I took the pictures of it because he was just so in his element. So I went and documented those 3 photos there. I did have some gaps and white spaces on the left and the right after I had the photos staggered. So I found this arrow piece in the rub-ons that I thought worked great. I'm not going to use it as an arrow. I'm actually going to cut it right down the middle, and I'm going to use half of it in the top section and the other half in the bottom section, more or less just to bring in color that was missing from this side of the spread. So part of it is going to go right there. I absolutely love these rub-ons. I have been obsessed with rub-ons lately. And the bottom one, I'm going to trim this up to make it a little bit, so that it'll fit a little bit more snug in there. We're going to put that bottom one facing the opposite direction down below. Once I get this pulled off, I am going to do some stamping on this side. I'm going to pull in the stamp set that did come with this kit, and I'm going to use the large September word. And I am going to put that in the middle white space in that white left white margin. And then I'm going to look through the set and find another stamp that I'm going to use for the top and the bottom. I really wasn't quite sure what to use, but there was one in there that said Fall Memories, and I didn't want to stamp it twice. So what I did was I inked up just the word fall for the top part, and then I don't recommend using your hand. I didn't have a cloth or anything handy, so I just stamped it off. But you need to make sure that you stamp it off if you do something like this. That way it doesn't shadow stamp or anything on your project. But I stamped it off on my hand, and then I just went back and re-inked up the memories, and I did that on the bottom. So now that I got to that point, I wanted a tab of some type to add to that flap. Kind of it's just like a reminder spot that, hey, you know, this opens up, this is where you need to grab, lift here, pull this kind of thing. So I did in the printables that come with the monthly kit. I print them out on sticker paper and run them through my Silhouette every single month. There's a lot of great little add-ons like these in that, and I'm going to go ahead and place it there on that bottom, and I will tuck it underneath my photo on the opposite side. But this little piece here on the outside, I'm going to double stamp the word favorites, dark and light, and then when I open up that panel on the inside of that tab is where I'm actually going to stamp the date. I don't think that I do that for a little bit, but that's where the date is going to go, is on the inside of that tab. Now for this larger blue page in the center here, this is where I knew I wanted to add my journaling, but there were a couple cards in the pocket page or the pocket card add-on. I purchased this as a subscription every month as well. I get a lot of use out of these cards. Even though I do not pocket scrapbook, I use them in my notebook constantly, and today I'm going to use 3 of them. There was this card that said Weekend Adventures that I trimmed down as kind of like a title, so to speak, and it'll go up on the top. And then this card, it says, "This was a good idea." That is where I'm going to put all of my journaling about that day. And then this piece I really loved. It says, "Be positive, patient, and persistent." And that is exactly the the title of this whole story, of how it started, how it came about, and so far what his journey has been. So it was perfect, and I had to fussy cut this and include this just because it was absolutely perfect. So I do fussy cut this off of the white card, and I'm going to use this more or less as a subtitle. But I do switch this around and put that on the bottom, but I don't realize that it's not going to really fit right until I start to do this piece. And then I find that I liked it there, and then we're going to move the Weekend Adventures up to the top. Now, once I did this, I did find that the top up there was a little bit empty, so I'm going to grab one of the labels again from that free printable sheet if you're a subscriber, and I am just going to use this to bring in color. I'm not going to write anything on it. I'm not going to do anything to it. I just use it as a layering piece behind that Weekend Adventures card and call that section up there done. I am going to adhere this 3x4 card down underneath the Weekend Adventures title. And then this piece that says the Be Positive, Patient, and Persistent, I'm going to go ahead and stick it on the bottom, but I do tilt it more of at an angle. That's how it was originally designed on the 3x4 card, so I wanted to carry that through. I do close the flap on that just to make sure all of those pieces are hidden underneath it. I didn't want any of them poking out. I wanted that blue to show, so that was a reason for that. Lastly, on this side, I do add a little bit of embellishing. I absolutely love this adorable little bee that is on this stamp this month, and I cannot seem to get enough of it. So I am actually going to stamp this little guy 3 times on this right-hand side of the page. And then I sit back and look for a second, and then I'm like, I think I want to do this on the left, but I wasn't sure, so I set it aside for a minute, and then I went back in and added the little tails. And when I added the little tails, this stamping does show when that flap is closed, but it doesn't bother me. I just wanted the journaling and the words hidden behind that flap. But after I do the trails for this third little bee, I decided to go back in and add 2 of them to the left-hand side of the spread. It helps fill in some of that white space in that top and bottom section. And it also helps tie both of those sides together. Lastly, I'm going to bring in the enamel dots because I can never get enough of these glitter enamel dots. And I'm going to add 3 on the left there. I'll put 2 on the bottom and then 1 on the top. And then on the middle section there, I'm going to put 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, just to help bring some more of that orange and that yellow in on this layout. And then I am actually going to call this spread done. So that is a 2-page spread with a tip out for a total of 5 pages on how you can do a larger layout in your traveler's notebook. I hope this was helpful. I hope this shows what the versatility that you can do with these extra, you know, I think it's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 papers that, or 4 1/4 by 8 1/4 pages that you get in some of your kits, and even some of the printable kits that are out there. Use it as a fold out, use it as a tidbit, add extra page or extra pictures and some journaling, and then call it done. Thank you again, everyone, for stopping by today. Here's some close-up photos for you at the end. If you are not a subscriber, I invite for you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you are, please hit the bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. I hope you've been inspired. Have a great day. Bye.